हरि ओम् वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaste friends. Team Paramvedanta takes delight in welcoming you to this inaugural session of a new series on Panchadashi chapter 1, otherwise called Tattva Viveka. Friends, Panchadashi, as the name suggests, is a huge text with 1571 verses spread across 15 chapters attributed to Swamy Vidyaranya. Swamy Vidyaranya, the author of this book, lived in the 13th to 14th century CE. He was born at a place called Pampa on the banks of the Tungabhadra in the state known as Vijayanagar, Kishkindha in the days of Ramayana, to Sri Mata and Sukriti Mayana and was named as Madhava. He had a brother named Sayana who was another genius, as brilliant and erudite as Madhava. Sayana had commented on all four Vedas. He was Bhashyakara. Swamy Vidyaranya lived well over 100 years. A CV of his life would reveal a man of great administrative capabilities, gigantic intellect, and deep inner spiritual refinement. There are few men who would reach his stature in learning, wisdom, and administrative responsibility. He was responsible for the cultural revival in Sanatana Dharma. In his time, India was in the hands of Muslim invaders. He stopped them from overrunning the south of India. After a splendid political career that stretched to 45 years, during which period he guided the Vijayanagar Empire to great heights as the Prime Minister, and after that he became the 12th Pontiff or Shankaracharya of the Sringeri Mutt. His learning was indeed incredibly vast. He was a polymath, that's a master of many subjects. The works of Vidyaranya Swami are very vast, which apart from Panchadashi include Drigdishya Viveka, Anubhuti Prakashana, Bhashyas on all four Vedas, Madhaviya Shankara Vijaya, a biography of Adi Shankara, Sarva Darshana Sangraha, and many, many others. Vidyaranya studied under a great scholar named Bharati Tirtha, among many others. From a careful study of his invocations to his various gurus under whom he studied, it surfaces that he wrote chapters 1 to 6 of Panchadashi and that 7 to 15 were written by his guru Bharati Tirtha. However, later, as instructed by his guru, all 15 chapters were re-edited by Swamy Vidyaranya, and hence the entire work has his stamp on it. The Panchadashi's 15 chapters contain a total of 1571 verses. The whole book is split into 3 parts, each with 5 chapters. Each part deals with a particular aspect of truth. The main topic of each chapter are Sat, which describes Viveka, Chit, which describes Dipa, and Ananda, which describes Ananda. The 5 chapters of first chapter Viveka are named as Tattva Viveka, Mahabhuti Viveka, Panchakosha Viveka, Dvaita Viveka, and Mahavakya Viveka. We have taken up the first chapter Tattva Viveka for our study, and today we will go through the first 4 verses. The first verse is a Mangalacharan Shloka offering prayers to Guru, and it will be explained by Dr. Ambika Sachin. The second verse is Anubandha Chatushtaya, and Dr. Amitabh Saharai will deal with this. The third and fourth verses talk about the waking and the dream state out of the Avasthatraya. Srimati Apeksha and Dr. Ashwini will help us understand these verses. After these presentations, Dr. Divakar will conduct a teaching quiz to deepen our understanding of these verses. Now, I request Dr. Hegde sir to give us a brief introduction of today's proceedings. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Venkatesh ji, for a very nice introduction to another amazing topic by Sri Vidyaranya Swami. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Pariyantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om. Extremely fortunate to be blessed by all these acharyas and to have another wonderful text by Sri Vidyaranya Swami which will give us new insights and new ideas into Vedanta. Panchadashi is a Prakarana Grantha. In Prakarana Grantha, you have very basic texts like Tattva Bodha, and there are certain advanced Prakarana Grantha. It is certainly an advanced Prakarana Grantha. The word Panchadashi means 15. Why? Because it has got 15 chapters and it has got 1,500 odd verses. Each chapter is complete in itself. In each chapter, you can get the essence of all Vedanta. And Swami Anubhavananda ji says, just like you speak of the Bible for Christians, for sincere students of Vedanta, it should be Panchadashi. As very quickly given to us by Venkatesh ji, the 15 chapters can be divided into sets of 5 called Panchakams. Therefore, we have 3 Panchakams. The first is called Viveka Pancakam. That means all of them, like the topic today is Tattva Viveka Prakarana. So all of them will have the title Viveka. The next 5, 6 to 10 will have Dipa. Dipa means light. So the first one, Viveka, deals with Sat. Dipa deals predominantly with Chit or consciousness, and Ananda deals with Ananda. So if you can see this wonderful list, so you have the first 5 is Tattva Viveka that we are going to study today. It has got just about 65 verses, and in 65 verses, very nicely, the whole Vedanta is brought about. In fact, in the first 10 verses itself, you have all that you need to know in Vedanta. Mahabhuta Viveka, chapter 2, is an amazing text. So it is certainly much more advanced. And many months ago, many years, some few years ago, we had studied the 7th chapter, Tripti Dipa. At some stage, we need to relook at it again because there is so much of Vedanta in that. And if you relook, our understanding will be greater. Just like we are doing Mananam on Kathopanishad, we have to do Mananam on Tripti Dipa. Tripti Dipa is one text where the entire 298 verses were based on one Brihadaranyaka mantra, Atmanam Ched Vijaneya Ayam Asmiti Purusha. So too, the second one, Mahabhuta Viveka, is entirely on one mantra of Chandogya Upanishad. And just taking one mantra of Chandogya Upanishad, the entire text brings about the Sat aspect so beautifully. Sadeva Saumya idamagram asid ekam eva advitiyam. He analyzes each word. Sad, eva. Saumya means dear one. So he will not touch that one. So too. And this is Panchadashi for all of us. Venkatesh ji has also spoken about those numerous wonderful work that we have. We just enjoyed the study of Dirikdrisha Viveka. Now we are studying Panchadashi. And then Shankara Digvijaya. I will not go into the story once again. 2 extraordinary brothers. Both of them became the Matadipati of Sringeri. The younger brother became the senior Acharya, and the younger brother went on to become Bharati Tirtha. And therefore, because he had become the Matadipati first, Vidyaranya had to become his junior, although Vidyaranya was as great. These 2 brothers together have given us this Panchadashi. Numerous stories about his life, already told us very briefly by Venkatesh ji. But although his brother was the Matadipati of Sringeri, he focused on traveling to various parts of the country like Kashi, and he spent a lot of time at Hampi, and where he was responsible for founding the Vijayanagar Empire. This is pictures of Sringeri. There is also a story relating to goddess Lakshmi. It is said that at one stage, Vidyaranya faced extreme poverty. And being a great upasaka that he was, He could appeal to goddess Lakshmi to ask whatever he wanted. And in spite of all his sadhanas, goddess Lakshmi did not appear to him. And the story goes that he decided to take sannyas. On the day he took sannyas, God appears to him and says, "What do you want?" He says, "When I wanted, you never came. Now that I have taken sannyas, I don't need anything." He says, "See, I have come. You must ask for something." He said, "Now I am a sannyasi. I don't need anything." She said, "If you're not going to ask me for anything, I will give you everything." So he was blessed with not only wealth, he was blessed with knowledge, and that is why he was called by his guru Vidya Aranya. That means he is a forest of knowledge, and also the tremendous amount of acumen to be able to give both financial and administrative support to these two brothers, Harihara and Bukka, were able to establish the Vijayanagar Empire, and which covered the entire Deccan Plateau and the southern India. Again, his compositions are amazing. Bhashyam on all the Vedas, of course, Panchadashi, Anubhuti Prakasha. Anubhuti, when we were studying Kathopanishad, we also studied Anubhuti Prakasha. What is Anubhuti Prakasha? As a Mathadipati of Sringeri, he discovered that there were a lot of eligible students, but who eligible in the sense they were very much interested in Vedanta, but for certain reasons they were not eligible for these classes. And he was able to bring the essence of all Vedanta, all the Upanishads in the Anubhuti Prakasha. A list of more of his work, and one of his famous works is Jivan Mukti Viveka, and of course Aparoksha Anubhuti Tika, and so on. We will come to today's chapter. From today onwards, we are starting a wonderful text of 65 verses called Tattva Viveka Prakarana, which gives Vedanta in a nutshell. Remember, all these are very poetic, and therefore those who can chant it can remember them. In the first two mantras, Vidyaranya Swami gives an introduction by offering namaskara to his guru. His guru is Shankarananda, and Shankarananda is supposed to be a great Acharya, but whose teaching style was extremely difficult. And having learnt this knowledge, he wanted to give the same thing to us in a easily digestible form. And that is why in one of the opening verses, he uses the word Sukha Bodhaya. I'm going to make this easy for you to understand. Sukha Bodhaya. So the first chapter is about Tattva Viveka, where you make a distinction between Satya and Mithya, which is in a way very similar to Drik and Drishyam. After making his namaskara to his guru, in just the first 10 verses, that means in 8 verses from 3 to 10, he is able to give us the Mahavakya, and without a single scriptural reference. And how does he do that? You will have a taste of it in this class. As students of Vedanta and those who have finished studying Drisya Viveka, he makes us analyze our every experience. You are listening to me. You can listen not only to me, you will be able to see many other things around in your room. Now, you will see there is one set of experiences that are always happening. So the experiences are many, but the experiencer is only one. So he will make you shift from the waking state, dream state, deep sleep state. Not only that, just like in Dakshinamurti, you have Balya, Dishu, Jagrat, from childhood onwards. Ask yourself, so many things have come and gone. My body has changed, my mind has changed, my thoughts have changed. But one thing has never changed. What is that which has never changed? So when you analyze that, you will realize my experiences are different, but the experiencer in every experience is the same. So, what is that which never changes? What I am conscious of is changing. That I am conscious is non variable. He says consciousness, which is also called Atma, is the non-variable factor in all our experiences in the waking state, in the dream state, in the deep sleep state. And that consciousness, which is there all the time, which is there in all three periods of time, that is called Sat. By definition of Sat is that which is there in all three periods of time. So in the first few verses, he has introduced us to that experiencer within us whose consciousness, but not just consciousness, but who is Sat Chit. That means there is some entity which is both conscious, but at the same time it is Sat also. That means it is there in all three periods of time. And then, just like we had in that Maitreya Brahmana in Brihadaranya Upanishad, he brings about the question of whom do you love the most? And we know that there are so many people who have come into my life and who have moved off, but there is one person whom I always love, and that is myself. Why do I love myself? I must be a source of happiness. And that source of happiness is that which is limitless in me. And what is limitless in me? That Sat Chit aspect is actually limitless. And he introduces ourselves to ourselves by helping us to discover that Sat Chit Ananta Asmi. And then he says, as per Vedanta, Brahman or Atma is Satchit Ananda. And therefore, Tat is Tvam Asi. By 10 mantras, he has given us the Mahavakya, you are that. And by the 10th, that means in 2.5 classes, all of us have to, with our own experiences, without going through a single scriptural reference, we can claim and exclaim, Aham Brahmasmi. But then there is a problem. And then he will give you a very nice example. Although I know this, I know I am Brahman, but still I don't experience that limitlessness. And then he gives an explanation about, he introduces what is called the Jiva Jagat Ishvara triangle. Why am I limit, although I know that? And the beautiful example he gives is, there is partial knowledge and partial ignorance. If there is complete ignorance, like in deep sleep, there is no problem. If there is complete knowledge, like a jnani, there is no problem. As human beings, I have partial knowledge and partial ignorance. Now he introduces us to Maya. And when Maya comes, creation comes. And when Maya comes, all the Trigunatmika, then that Jiva Jagat Ishvara triangle. So he introduces us to the triangular format, and then through Guru Shastra Upadesha, how we can move from the triangular format to the binary format. He gives another beautiful example of how an insect is caught up in a whirlpool. Like all of us, as jivas, are caught in a whirlpool. And from one whirlpool to another whirlpool, we have been trapped life after life until a Karuna Nidhi in the form of a guru comes and saves us. And we are those people. So this example is talking about all of us who have been saved by our gurus, who have rescued us and have put us on the path of Jnana Yoga. And that is what we are in. We will see these verses. The opening verse will be explained by Dr. Ambika. Dr. Ambika, please.
Hari Om, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Next slide. So as already given in the introduction by Sir, that the Panchadashi is a text authored by Swamy Vidyaranya, and he was a great Acharya who lived in the 14th century. Later, he became the Pithadipati of Shringeri Mutt. Next slide. Panchadashi means comprising of 15. It's a Prakarana Grantha, and it is being divided into 3 parts. The first 5 chapters is called Viveka Prakarana. The 6 to 10 is a Chitta, that is Dipa Prakarana, and 11 to 15 is Ananda Prakarana. Next slide. Next slide, sir. So it starts with the Mangalacharan, So, so Mangalacharan is an auspicious invocation. So it says, Namah Shri Shankarananda Guru Padam Bhuja Janmane Savilasa Mahamoha Graha Graheka Karmani. The running meaning is, salutations to the lotus feet of my Guru, Shri Shankarananda, who destroys self-ignorance, that is the cause of attachment to the belief that the pursuit of happiness can bring lasting peace. So this is a Mangalacharan, which means an auspicious invocation. Hey, Swamy Vidyaranya is doing a Mangalacharan for his Guru, Shankaranandaji. In a Vedantic tradition, one does not differentiate between the Guru and Ishvara. Swamiji is offering his Namaskara to the Guru for the successful completion of the study. Study to know the real self, to know the real nature, to know what is real and what is unreal, to have self knowledge. And in this journey of self knowledge, obstacles will be there. What type of obstacles? Adhyatmik, Adibhautik, Adidaivik. And all these invisible problems are beyond our control. Ishvara Anugraha is the only parihara for Adrishta Pratibandha. I offer my namaskara to the lotus feet of Guru Shankaranandaji, who has removed my ignorance and given me the Atma Jnana. Next slide. Next slide, sir. Savilasa Mahamoha Grasaika Karmani. The feet of his gurus are constant destroyer of Mahamoha Grasa. It means the ignorance is being compared to a huge crocodile. That is the Agyan. The crocodile is destroyed by the teachings of his guru. Ignorance is the cause of human suffering. This is the Mula Agyana, is Mahamoha, huge self-ignorance crocodile. The ignorance is being compared to crocodile because it once it catches a person from underneath without his knowledge, the grasp is so strong, impossible to get out of it. As a result, two things happens. Our movement and freedom is restricted. So the crocodile is called grasa. In the same way, I have no control over my emotions. Sometimes they are joyous, then it is all right. But most of the time, it is burdensome and painful. So, this twofold problem of pain and bondage is called samsara. And in this verse, the samsara is called vilasa. Next slide. So, the Guru's padas helps us to get rid of the crocodile grasp and to be happy. The Moola Ajnana, along with the samsara, is being destroyed by Guru's teachings and grace. To such a Guru, Shankarananda, I offer my namaskara, says the author. Dhanyavad.
Thank you, Dr. Ambika, for a nice beginning of Panchadashi. So, Namah Shri Shankarananda, as I told you, this is an extremely difficult teacher. And he was very choosy about who will come as his students. But then when he saw Vidyaranya and his brother, two exceedingly brilliant people, he accepted them. If you see the meaning of the word Guru, among all the planets you have, the heaviest planet is Jupiter. And Jupiter is also referred to as Guru. And you know why Jupiter is called Guru? You will see how our ancients knew all the planets, and the word Guru means heavy. And very humorously, Swami Paramarthananda ji says, the Guru's only job is to eat. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, his job is to swallow. And what does he swallow? He swallows Mula Avidya. So the job of a guru is to take away that Mula Avidya. That Mula Avidya is the cause of all our problems. You remember, we studied Hridaya Granthi in Vriktrisha Viveka. And once the Hridaya Granthi is broken, Vidyate Hridaya Granthi. So the job of a guru eka karmani. My Guru has got only one job, and that is to eat away my mahamoha. Savilasa mahamoha graha grasika eka karmani. The only task is to eat away that primal ignorance that is the cause of suffering for all of us. Verse 2 by Amitabh. Amitabh, please.
Yeah. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Yeah. So after Guru Namaskara, we come to verse 2. So Sri Vidyaranya Swami in verse 2 introduces the subject matter here. So let's look at this verse. So Tat Pada Ambruha Dvanda Seva Nirmala Chetasham Sukha Bodhaya Tattvasya Viveka Ayam Vidyate. So now if you break it down, next slide, sir. Yeah. So break it down to understand the meaning of the verse proper. Tat meaning referring to the Supreme Lord. Pada Amruha Dvanda, the pair of the lotus feet. Seva, service or worship. Nirmala, pure, spotless. Chetasam, of those whose minds and hearts. So of those whose minds and hearts are purified by the service of the pair of the lotus feet. Then Sukha Bodhaya, meaning easy understanding. So Swamy Vidyaranya is giving us this for our easy understanding, as opposed to what his guru had taught, which was quite difficult. Thus, Tattvasya, of the truth or of the Tattva. Viveka is discrimination. I am this, and Vidyate is being prescribed or set forth. Okay, so the analysis of the truth is being prescribed for easy understanding. That is the literal translation. Now we'll go to the next slide. So in this verse, there are two parts. The first is that Swamy Vidyaranya says that Atma Jnana is those who have the required qualification. Okay, so the Atma Jnana cannot be enjoyed by everybody. It requires a minimum qualification, and so he says that it is for those who are qualified. So now, who are these qualified individuals? These qualified individuals are those with sadhana chatushtaya sampanna adhikaram. Okay, so this is the qualification criteria. So we'll go to the next slide, sir. Yeah. So sadhana chatushtaya sampannam, endowed with fourfold qualifications, as we have seen before, but it bears repetition. So the fourfold qualification are viveka, which is discrimination between the eternal and the non-eternal. Vairagya, meaning dispassion or being indifferent to the worldly pleasures. Then Shakti Sampatti, having the 6 virtues, which is mental discipline, and the virtues which are nothing but Sama, Dhamma, Uparati, Tiktiksha, Shraddha, and Samadhana. And then finally Mumukshutva, which is a burning desire for liberation. Okay, so the qualified person has these fourfold qualities. Okay, so we'll go to the next slide, sir. Okay. So now then that begs the question, what about the unqualified people? Because the majority, including many of us, are unqualified people. So what about us? Are we left in the lurch? No. Okay, so we also have a path forward. And for those of us who are unqualified, we obviously need to get qualified. And the way to get ourselves qualified is to provide service to the Guru. Okay, so it's important that we get ourselves qualified. That is the only thing that we can strive towards. And the best way to become a qualified person is to do seva or service to the Guru. And this is also emphasized in Bhagavad Gita, very similar verse 4.34, where Lord Krishna says that, read the verse, Tat Vidhi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya Upadekshayanti Te Jnanam Jnanina Tattva Darshina. Which means the verse says that you need to approach the Guru with reverence, inquiring about the truth from the Guru with humility, and rendering service to the Guru. So that is the way forward for all of us who can, from unqualified status, move towards a qualified status. Okay, so that will help us to gain the tattva or the knowledge of the truth. Okay, so that's about the verse 2. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Thank you very much, Amitabh, for a very nice explanation of verse number 2. If you look at Tatpada Ambruru Dvandva Seva Nirmala Chetasam Sukha Bodha Vodaya Tattvasya Viveka Ayam Vidhiyate. I'm going to teach you, and I'm going to teach you how Sukha Bodha. I'm going to teach you in a very simple way. To whom? To those who serve the Guru and thereby make themselves eligible. Whenever we start a new text, there is something called a Anubandha Chatustaya. Anubandha Chatustaya means for whom is this person? For that person who has served his Guru and thereby developed a certain amount of eligibility. And the eligibility is nicely described as Sadhana Chatustaya Sampanna. So when you have that ability, the teacher is able to give you Tattva Viveka, that is the subject matter. And how does he give you? The Sukha Bodhaya. So that will be, what are the four things? Who is the Adhikari? What is the subject matter? What is the benefit I'm going to get in this? The benefit is I'm going to get Tattva Viveka, that is the subject matter. How? Sukha Bodhaya, in an easy way. And that's what I said, look forward for the first 10 verses. And in the first 10 verses, if you have got the first 10, we've already seen the 2 verses. These 2 verses are talking about Guru Namaskara. But from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you will get the Mahavakya very quickly. Apeksha, please.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. So, hereby from the Shloka 3, as rightly said, the teaching begins with Vidyaranya Swami. Swamiji starts his teaching, and here he talks about the Jivatma Swaroopa. So, in this verse, if we have to see the meaning of this word, it basically means whatever the objects of knowledge, whatever the objects that we are seeing, which are perceived in the waking state, they might appear different to us because of their different shape, size, and form. But the consciousness, that is the underlying jivatma of these objects, does not differ. We are going to see how, and a lot of examples have been given by Swamiji. Next slide, sir, please. So, Vidyaranya Swamiji begins teaching here by explaining the Jivatma Swaroopa, the essential nature, the inner essence of all beings, or the essential nature of the self. So, what is Jivatma? It is not the body or the mind, but it is the invisible, the immortal, the all-pervading consciousness that we talk about. And as we all know, what are the properties of consciousness? It's not a part, product, or property of the body. It is independent, just like space it is. And he gives here a beautiful example is also given. Like space remain, even like you look at the pot that you're seeing, even if it breaks, the space will always be there. The consciousness also remains even after the body dies. So consciousness is basically independent and space-like, pervading the body and extending beyond it, even when the body is not there. So even after the body falls, this consciousness survives, just like how the space survives when this pot is broken. But without a medium, it is not recognizable. So if this pot is broken and not there, we will not recognize the space. Similarly, we are not able to recognize the consciousness because the medium has disappeared. That is our body. Next slide, sir. Then Vidyaranya Swami also talks about Satchit Ananda, that is the nature of Atman. So Atman is described as Sat, which is eternal, Chit, which is the consciousness, and Ananda, which is the fullness. So if you look at, we'll be seeing a lot of detail in the upcoming verses also. Sat means consciousness is eternal, which is unaffected by time or space, which we saw earlier in the previous slide. Ananda means completeness, the Purnatvam part of it, which does not mean the emotional happiness, but the fullness of being, the happiness which is without any condition, without any emotions, the bliss. Both Jivatma and Paramatma are shown to be identical in their nature. So why Jivatma and Paramatma are shown to be identical in the nature? One beautiful example that was given by Paramatmananda ji here while explaining this was, ocean and waves appear different, but they are essentially water, right? So you can look at the picture. The wave looks different, the ocean looks different, but basically it's water. Similarly, Jivatma and Paramatma are not two separate entities. They're identical in nature. Next slide, please. So, very beautifully in this slide, what is an experience? So, now we will know that consciousness is basically homogeneous, same everywhere, and very beautifully it has been explained. What is an experience? Experience is nothing but consciousness plus object together. So, consciousness alone cannot result into any experience, but when it comes in contact with an object via your mind and the sense organs, it is called experience. So our sense organs in the mind opens the world, the shabda, rupa, rasa, whatever we are saying, while closing the others. So if we are seeing something from our eyes, right, it becomes, when we see that object, when it comes in contact with consciousness, it becomes a experience. So experience is not something separate from consciousness. It is just a relational name. How? We'll see. So when a pot is there and consciousness is there, it becomes pot experience. When you see a cow, consciousness comes in picture, it becomes a cow experience for us. But in this both, the underlying thing is the consciousness remains the same. It's only the object that changes via our mind and senses. Next slide, please. So why is there apparent, multiplication of experience, so much variation in experience? Because we have many experiences, right? But all experiences have underlying one same consciousness, but it appears different in terms to different objects. The plurality belongs to objects, not to the consciousness. So Vidyaranya Swami here gives a warning also. Mistaking relational experience as separate leads to spiritual confusion. Now, how does that beautiful example is given. You see this one light, right? This one light that comes through the sunlight, it shines on many objects. The objects might change. It might be a car, it might be a tree, it might be a mountain, but the light doesn't. The light is similar everywhere. The sunshine that is coming is similar everywhere. So similarly, consciousness is constant while our experiences might shift because of our mind and sense organs. Next slide, please. So changeless consciousness is what we are talking about. And no matter what state it is changeless. Consciousness is just changeless. So in all the three states, that is the waking, dream, and the deep sleep, consciousness remains the same. Only the object of experience changes, right? Third, experience is equal to consciousness plus object. So when our object of experience changes, external world, dream world, or blankness, anything can happen. The experience in sleep is also the result of consciousness, but it relates to the absence of objects. So for example, a movie screen, you can see a movie screen here, right? It shows different films, which could be waking, dreaming, sleeping, but the screen remains untouched and it's always the same. Similar is with the consciousness also. So the movie might change, but the screen remains the same. So your objects, your waking, dreaming, sleeping state might change, but consciousness will always remain untouched and same. Next slide, sir. So the core inside is consciousness is one. So more examples are there so that it becomes extremely clear to us. So experiences differ. So we have seen movie example, we have seen light example, we have seen the pot example, but now the Guru Shishya example will also come in. So experiences might differ only due to the objects. The experiencer, the consciousness never changes. So even relational identities like Guru or Shishya are temporary roles. The underlying being is constant. So for example, the Guru status only comes when the Guru is teaching to a Shishya. As soon as the student leaves, the Guru is the same person, right? The Guru Padvi is taken away, but it is essentially the same person, right? The Guru remains the same. The person underlying being remains the same. The role just goes away. So train your mind to focus on the experience itself, then subtract the object. What remains is pure consciousness. This is just the essence of the entire verse. We should train our mind to focus on the experience itself, then subtract the object, and that is what is pure consciousness. Pain and pleasure feels different because of the objects. injury or praise, whatever you want to say, but the experiencing principle underlying the pain and pleasure will also be consciousness only, which is one only. So summarizing the entire quote, next slide, sir. What is the summary of this entire quote? It means consciousness is the unchanging, undivided reality appearing as multiple experiences due to changing objects. Realizing this leads to freedom from false identification and reveals the oneness of Jivatma and Paramatma. Hari Om, sir.
Wait.
Thank you, Apeksha, for a very nice explanation. See, when a verse is given and when you are able to explain a particular verse, you have to understand the verse so completely in order to be able to explain. And that is the great opportunity that we have on this platform, that only when you try to explain what is this so many experiences and who is that common experiencer, it is nice to see each of you explaining. The take-home message is only this: experiences are different, but the experiencer is one. Pratibodha viditam matham. In every experience, can I come in touch with the experiencer? Can I do that in my dream experience too? Let us listen to Dr. Ashwini.
Hari Om, sir. Thank you. Now we have seen that verses 3 to 10 talks about the Vedanta Sara, essence of Vedanta. Now Jiva Swaroopa, which is Sat Chit Ananda, is known through analysis. The Paramatma Satchidananda Swarupa is known through scriptures. These both are which is one and the same. Though they are seemingly different, as we've already seen, it's like a wave in ocean. The subject matter is water. Now, verse 4 is the continuation of the objectless consciousness from the third one. Now, we have learned or learning that awareness is eternal, attributeless. Discovering this truth in the Jagrata Avastha, now we extend into Swapna Avastha. Verse goes like this. Tatha swapnetra vedyantu na sthiram jagare sthiram tadbhedo tastayoh samvid ekarupa na bhidyate. In the dream state, the perceived objects are transient. In the waking state, they seem permanent. But the consciousness or awareness that knows both dream and waking objects is the same or homogeneous. Next slide, sir. Things that we perceive in dream vanish subsequently. But the experience is different in the waking state with respect to this alone. The knowledge of experienced things or the consciousness helps the perception in both states is the same. The dream state helps us understand the unchanging nature of the consciousness. When one experiences a dream, it seems as if the dream experience changes, but only the dream objects change. As the objects change, the dream state itself remains the same. There is no actual difference between dream and waking, except that the duration of objects that are presented to awareness is different. That's why we never remember most of the times. But the consciousness is uniform and continuous in both states. Objects are located in consciousness. This is very easy to understand as we analyze the dream state. The physical body appears in the dream as a dream object. It is thought to be real just as in waking state. Dream objects are thoughts. Therefore, the dream body is a thought. In fact, it's a thought even in waking state which seems to be real. Swamy Vidyaranya analyzes the experiences of the three states which takes place only in the mind in the form of thought mode. In the mind. And this thought mode is called vritti. So every vritti or thought mode is sentient one. That is why it is called Chetana vritti, and this is not inert. Next slide, sir. See, when the body is insentient, the thought occurring in the mind is insentient. Every vritti is associated with consciousness. So the relationship between consciousness and thought is exactly similar to that of the relationship between consciousness and the body. The thought here represents an experience. So we've already seen consciousness is an independent entity. We've been reading about it. We've read all those properties of Atma or consciousness, which makes the thought sentient, and it is not limited by the size of the thought. So it continues to survive even after the fall of a thought. So when we apply this, there will be stream of thoughts arising arising and also falling like waves in the ocean. So what we have to note here is the thoughts rise and fall, experiences come and go, but consciousness is one continuous entity which is without plurality and neither subjected to arrival and departure like that of a thought. Next slide, sir. So when consciousness associated with thought, there is an experience. But when there is no thought, there is no experience. But consciousness continues, which is called blank state. And this should never be misinterpreted as emptiness. Blank state is objectless consciousness. And such an objectless or thoughtless experience is pure consciousness. Swamiji gives an example from Bhagavatam in the form of a Rasa Krida. Every thought is like a gopi. There is a versatility of gopis. There are many thoughts. And along with each gopi or a thought, there will be one Krishna. That is the consciousness. Krishna, the consciousness or Paramatma, does the dance with every thought. So, if gopi is a state of mind, there will be stream of experiences which can be called as rasa krida that we experience. But if we understand that the consciousness is associated with every thought, but is also detached from every thought, that it is not affected by or polluted by or adversely influenced by any thought, that understanding remains with us, and that is nothing but the Ananda. So between Swapna Avastha and Jagrata Avastha, the experience are different, but the consciousness is one and the same. And that one and the same consciousness is the changeless principle. Sutre Manigana Iva, there are many or varying beads, but the sutra does not vary. Thank you, sir. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Thank you, Dr. Ashwini, for another nice explanation of this verse, giving a nice example of that Rasa Leela, a very nice story in the Bhagavat. In that, what happens? Each gopi dances with Sri Krishna. So as many gopis are there, there are seemingly so many Krishnas. But if you really see, what are we talking about? Prati bodha viditam matam. My experiences are many, but the experiencer is only one. And this is what Sri Krishna tells us in the 13th chapter, Kshetrajnam, the knower of the field, Chapi Mam Vidhi Sarva Kshetreshu Bharata, the one with all the gopis, the one with all experiences, that one is myself. Let us look at a quiz in about what we have studied so far. It will be conducted by Dr. Divakar. Dr. Divakar, please.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Thank you, sir. Ashwini will try and answer these questions. So let's quickly look at these questions and see how much we remember from the class today. Panchadashi. What was Swamy Vidyaranya's Purvashrama name? So Purvashrama, as we know, is the name before anyone takes up sannyasa ashrama. So is it Mandana Mishra? Is it Madhava Acharya? Is it Sita Rama Anjaneyulu, or is it Giri?
The answer is Madhavacharya.
Madhavacharya is the right answer. So we know that Madhavacharya, and that story sir has already talked about Madhavacharya and his brother and how they went to the Guru, and then subsequently what happened is the story that we know. So what was the whose name was Mandana Mishra? Just out of curiosity, really, just if If you
Sureshwaracharya, who is the
Sureshwar Acharya. Let Ashwini answer because otherwise there will be some kind of overlap because it is getting recorded. Sureshwar Acharya is the right answer. First Acharya of the Sringeri Matha Dakshinamneya. And Sita Rama Anjaneyulu is the Purvashrama name of the current Mahasannidhanam, Sri Bharati Tirtha Swamiji of the Sringeri Matha. And Giri, of course, a lot of you will know, is the Purvashrama name of Totakacharya, was the first Acharya of the Uttaramnaya Matha, Badrikashrama. We will look at the next question. Vidyaranya was an able minister and administrator in which of the following kingdoms? Is it Chola kingdom, Pallava kingdom, Maurya kingdom, and Vijayanagara kingdom?
Vijayanagara kingdom, please.
That is the right answer, Vijayanagara kingdom. So we know that Harihara and Bukkaraya, famously known as Hakka and Bukka. So they were guided by Vidyaranya. And then the story of how the Vijayanagara Empire, it lasted for more than, I think, 200 years. And they stopped the invasion of the Mughal rule from the North India. Next question, sir. It is called Panchadashi. The text is called Panchadashi. What is the, why is that it is called Panchadashi? Option 1, it deals with the 5 paths leading to the moksha, Panchamarga Darshana. Or is it contains 5 chapters or the prakaranas? Or is it that it elaborates the prakriti which is made of Panchabhutas? We know that Akasha to Prithvi. And then option 4, all of the above.
Because it contains 15 chapters or prakaranas, it is called Panchadashi.
Absolutely right. Panchadasha, of course, is 15 in Sanskrit. Next question, sir. So what kind of a scriptural text is Panchadashi? Is it Prakarana Grantha? Is it Shruti Pramana? Is it Smriti Pramana? Or is it Nyaya Pramana?
It is Prakarana Grantha.
Absolutely right. So we know that Prakarana Granthas, Swamy Vidyaranya has given many of them. Drishya Viveka, which we have studied recently, is one of them. Tattva Bodha, of course, by Shankaracharya and many others. They have given Prakarana Granthas. Prakarana Granthas are best for Mananam. Any doubts that may arise from reading the scriptural text, Upanishads, Prakarana Granthas will clarify that so clearly. So all the doubtless knowledge we can get it from Prakarana Grantha, and all the texts are made a lot more easier in these Granthas. So it is expected that a sincere spiritual sadhaka should at least go through the 3 of them, Shruti Pramana, Smriti and Nyaya Pramana. Shruti Pramana, example, is all the Upanishads, and the Smriti Pramana is Bhagavad Gita, and the Nyaya Pramana is Brahma Sutras. These are called as Prasthana Trayam. Next question, sir. So we know that 15 chapters are there. So 5 chapters into 3 sets each. Each of them have each Panchakam. Each 5 chapters are called as Panchakam. Each of them have their own names because that is how each chapter ends the name with. What are these names of the Panchakams? Pratama Panchakam, what is the name?
Prathama Panchakam is called Viveka Pancakam. Each chapter ends with Viveka. Dvitiya Panchakam ends with Deepa. We have already studied Tripti Deepa. And then Charama Panchakam ends with Ananda.
Absolutely right. So there is some variations in the verses which are given. So these are all the names which are there. As you see, the last name of each chapter. So like what we are studying now is Tattva Viveka. That is ending with Viveka, and the next one is Deepa, and the next one is Ananda. So Yogananda, Atmananda, etc. Next question, sir. So grace of the Guru is needed to ward off 3-fold obstacles. These 3-fold obstacles are called as Tapatraya. So which of the following is correctly matched? So there are 3-fold obstacles. As we know, they are Adi Daivika, Adi Bautika, and Adhyatmika. So you can look at these options and tell me which one is the correct sequence. I don't want to read through all of them because they're fairly long.
I think Adi Daivika is major natural calamities.
Okay.
Adi Bhautika, people and animals. Adhyatmika, own mind and health. I think the fourth one.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. So which means, so we can have towards any pursuit, anything that we want to do, not only the scriptural pursuit, any pursuit, we can encounter obstacles from any of these sources. And before we take up any scriptural study, it is our practice that we offer Guru Vandana. So in this case, we say Sadashiva Samarambham. And again, there is a Shanti Pata which is told in the end, which ends with three Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So all these three Shantis to mitigate any obstacles which may arise from any of these sources. So Adi Daivika, any major natural calamities, heavy rains, floods, etc. Other people and animals or any other surrounding problems we may have, like internet problems and all of that, could be Adi Bhautika. And then our own mind, which is the biggest obstacle for all of us, or our own physical health can be an obstacle, that is Adhyatmika. So to ward off any obstacles, we offer Namaskaram to Guru, and we need the grace of the Guru. Next question, sir. So now we go to the first Mangalacharan. This is the auspicious invocation. So in this first verse of Tattva Viveka, what is the deeper meaning of the Guru Pada which is there? And what is the meaning of Maha Moha Graha? Is it the lotus feet of the Guru? So in other words, Guru Pada, Guru Padam, or the feet, lotus feet of the Guru will ward off the Maha Moha Graha. So what is the deeper meaning? So lotus feet of the Guru and the ego of the Jiva, which is compared to Mahamoha, or is it the stable mind, which will then ward off the Harishad Vargas, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, etc. Or is it the self-knowledge through Guru Shastras, which will ward off or remove the innate self-ignorance? Number 4, is it all of the above?
Is it all of the above or self-knowledge through Guru Shastra and innate self-ignorance?
It is option 3, self-knowledge. Self-knowledge here through Guru and Shastras is compared to the Guru Pada. When we have, so Guru Paduka Stotra we have read, there is of course a surrendering and a literal reverence towards the Guru. The best bhakti that we can offer to any Guru is by Swadhyaya and understanding the scriptural study through the Shastras and the Guru. And of course that will remove the Mula Agnana, the innate ignorance that we all have about our own real identity. Next questions. So in this verse, in the same verse, why is Guru comparing Maha Agnana to a crocodile? Is it because it is told in the, so it should be actually Bhagavad Purana. There is a Gajendra Moksha story we all know. So where an elephant is caught by the crocodile and it will be suffering. And the only way it can come out is by thinking about Lord Vishnu, who will come and liberate the elephant from this suffering. Is it because it's told in this Bhagavad Purana? Or is it because it has one of the longest lifespans and it symbolizes how our Agnana is also there for a long time through several Janmas? Or is it because they sleep for a long period of time, which symbolizes the Tamoguna, which is of course diametrically opposite to a spiritual growth? Or is it because the crocodile can catch our feet from below without our awareness and the grip is so tight and painful and it lasts for a longer time?
It is because they catch out feet from below and grip is very tight and painful.
Absolutely. And Ambikaji brought this out beautifully in her presentation. Okay. Next question. So in this second verse, for those who have served at the lotus feet of the Guru, this teaching of Viveka will be very easily palatable. So this is basically Sukha Bodhaya, very easy to understand for those who are very prepared. So who are they basically? Is it for Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampannas, or is it for Karma Yogis, those with unwavering devotion to the Guru, those already well versed in the Veda Purva Bhaga or the Karma Kanda Bhaga.
It is Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampanna. Mr. Amitabh sir has really brought it very well.
Absolutely. So Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampanna are also called as Adhikaris, which means Viveka. We are studying about the Tattva Viveka now. Viveka means ability to discern the permanent from the impermanent. Then Vairagya, leaning towards the permanent, which is the Nitya Vastu or the Brahman. And then Mumukshatvam, having a lot of passion, yearning towards gaining more scriptural knowledge. And then Shatka Sampatti, which are the values. Those who have mastered that or the Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampannas, for them it is Sukha Bodhaya. And of course, the teaching itself, as Sir said, Vidyaranya Swami has made it very easy for us, and it is a lot more easier for the Adhikaris. The word Vidhiyate, there is also a significant word. It doesn't necessarily mean just teaching, but it is something, it's an instruction for us to be followed at every step in our life. Next verse. Right. So there is the analysis of the Jivatma which is taking place in the first few verses. Which aspect of the Brahman is being brought out here? Is it the Satrupa, which is the existence? Is it Chitrupa, which is the consciousness? Or is it Ananda Rupa, which is the bliss? Or is it all of the above?
It is Chitrupa, consciousness.
Absolutely right. It is actually the Chitrupa. We can see that in the third line. Okay. So consciousness, and in fact in the subsequent verses Satrupa is also brought about, and then the Ananda Rupa. In the initial sections it is the Chitrupa which is brought about, and that was beautifully explained by Apeksha in this verse. And we'll see the next question. Now this is connecting previous verse as well as this one and taking from the Digdrisha Vivek also. These terminologies are not used in this today's class, but it is similar. We know, we have heard of Vyavaharika Satya, which is the Jagrat Prapancha that we see. And then there is Pratibhasika Prapancha or Pratibhasika Satya, which is the dream world, dream experience. And there is Paramarthika Satya, which is the absolute, higher experience or higher reality rather. So pick the correct statement based on the teachings that we have had from today. Vyavaharika Satya is unsteady and transient compared to Pratibhasika Satya. Number one. Number two, Paramarthika Satya differs in other words, changes in Vyavaharika Satya and Pratibhasika Satya. And Pratibhasika Satya is unsteady and transient compared to Vyavaharika Satya. And the last one is Paramarthika Satya is constant across the states but is transient. Sorry, a little bit of a trick question.
This Pratibhasika Satya is unsteady and transient compared to the Vyavaharika Satya. That's what.
Absolutely right. I think you also brought it out in your presentation. So the dream world seems real only at that time, but that is relatively, less real compared to the Jagrata Avastha, the wakeful state, because there is a longer memory which is attached. And the last statement would have been right if there was no transient in the end. So Paramarthika Satya is constant across the states, but there is no, it is not transient. Basically, it is constant and there is no, it doesn't get affected at all. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Hari Om. Thank you, Ashwini.
Thank you, Hegde sir, and speakers of the day for a wonderful explanation for the first 4 verses of Tattva Viveka chapter. Thank you, Dr. Dibakar sir, for further consolidating our understanding of the 4 verses with your beautiful teaching quiz. Thank you all friends for your focused participation. Coming Monday on 11th August 2025, let's tune in for 5th session of Mananam series at 6:45 p.m. to listen to Dr. Hegde sir, who will take up verses 8 to 14 of chapter 1, Valli 2 of Kathopanishad. That brings us to the end of today's session. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you. Thank you, sir.